My first video I talked a little bit about what was going on, just kind of a life update. I also wanted to talk about just my experience with burnout and how it happened. So what happened for me was when I started in Shelter Med and Vet Med in 2018, I moved to Kansas City. My pay was $11 an hour, and I was only getting 11 because I had a degree. So at the time, I think 8 or 9 might have been minimum wage. So I was getting a little bit above minimum wage, but not really a livable wage. My husband was working, doing his thing, but not really doing well either in his job. So we were really trying to scrape by. The biggest thing after I kind of got settled in that job, I started looking at getting a second job to supplement that income. Shelter, we were working 3 12-hour shifts, which at the time I loved. I loved working 12s because I got 4 days off and I got to be there all day, and I loved it at that point. I wanted to be there every day, which is insane, but I was learning so much and, taking so much in and meeting new people, and I just loved the animals, so I just wanted to be there all the time. Like, I felt guilty, even though I was working full-time hours. I felt guilty not working more. First was Target. I was doing the picking and pulling for online orders. Ended up leaving that job for another second job at an ER, a veterinary ER. And so for that job, I was working 20 hours. I would also work overtime at the shelter. So a lot of times we were working 7 a.m. to maybe 8 or 9 p.m. And then a lot of times I would also come in just to help provide relief because we didn't have enough staff to do everything that we needed to do. Come in and I would just handle parvo for the morning or handle meds or something. That was just what I did because I loved my job. So I was working 40 plus hours at the first job, 20 hours on the mid shift at my second job at the ER. In the mid shift, I got there at 4 p.m. and I worked until 1 a.m. Didn't think that it was a problem until I left there because I loved it. I loved every second of it in the moment, except for the stupid coworker bullshit. I loved everything I was doing when I was at the shelter, when I was at the ER, loved it. But that is really when it started because I was working 60 plus hours every week and not really having any time for myself. There are a couple things that happen in this industry as well. I think mainly in the shelter one, you deal with a lot of the if not me, who mentality. So it's like, if it's not me here now taking care of this animal, who's gonna do it? If it's not us here to take in this animal to the shelter, who's gonna do it? What's gonna happen if we don't do it? I'm not gonna say they took advantage of me wanting to do that stuff. I think I'm responsible for that, but it was kind of like they can rely on me to be that person to step up if something's needed, no matter what it does to me or my life. So if I don't go in and handle parvo this morning, they're not gonna get seen until 11 or 12, and someone could be dying in there right now. I do think it happens with a lot of people because we all care so much. But that was something I really struggled with, was if I don't do it, it's not gonna get done, which is not true. But it's how it felt when you only had 3 people to run an entire shelter clinic, including surgery. The lack of staff was really probably the biggest problem because we all felt like we had to stretch ourselves so thin to cover everything. And not just to the minimum bar, although we had to do that some days, but just the minimum, we weren't okay with just doing that. We wanted to do the best that we could. That really compounded later when I was leading the infirmary at another shelter where I was the only person to treat those animals for that day. It was me and 1, maybe 2 animal care people in my infirmary. So I was the only one doing the medical stuff. They were doing all the cleaning. And when you have 70 patients that you're responsible for, that's too much.